wasn't
All right.
with the 40 grand.
But I'm like, Jesus.
Right.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the October 4th, 2021 edition of the Police Station Building Committee. I do have an announcement. An advisory from the Mass Department of Public Health has been issued for all non-vaccinated and fully vaccinated people to wear a mask in public indoor settings in areas of substantial or high transmission. Shrewsbury, Worcester County has been categorized as a high level of community transmission for over a month. Therefore, we require that all employees and visitors in all municipal buildings wear a face mask. Exemption from the mask requirement include those with a medical or other eligible condition. In addition, we ask all those attending the meeting to practice social distancing, leaving space between yourself and other non-related parties also attending the meeting. The committee members here tonight will also be masked and practicing social distancing through their seating arrangements. When speaking, we do ask that your face mask remains on. Thank you. And with that, we do have a quorum, I see, so this meeting is called to order. First on the agenda, we have the minutes of September 8th, 2021.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the September 8th, 2021 minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Next, we have bills to pay. We have 6 this week for a total of $1,272,105.79. Includes Fontaine Brothers for $1.14 million. Construction Monitoring Services, $25,000. Tecton, $95,645.79. Colliers, $1,360. Allied Testing, $2,380. And another Allied Testing for $3,300. Any comments, questions, discussion? John?
Could I get a breakdown of your Fontaine application, please?
I do not have that application with me at the moment. I can give that to you after this meeting.
I assume it's your building, site work, concrete.
Retreat.
I'm
And
just wondering the numbers, where they fall.
so concrete was just under $300,000. Site work was just under $500,000, and then structural steel was like $30,000 for their bond and a little bit of submittals. With that, we also had our CM fee, or the one that is broken out over your 22-month duration, and our insurances and bonds for the additional scope that was released with the filed trade sub-bidder amendment that we had at the last meeting.
Right.
So that's what makes up that 1.14.
Okay.
Good, John? Anything else? I think we can take these as a group instead of individually. If there's no other discussion, do we have a motion?
Move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bills and warrants for $1,272,105.79. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. And we're on to item 4. First up is Owner's Project Manager, Neil.
Couple items for this meeting, Mr. Pitney. First of all, I'd like to introduce 2 new colleagues to the project. Scott Lubker, who was here for the interview and has joined us to do some field supervision work, and also Roger Hoyt, who will be our primary site representative for the duration of the project. Secondly, in your packages today and in front of you, there is a budget update detailing costs to date. In summary, those costs are just over $3.86 million, roughly 10.4% of the overall project budget. In terms of progress, we are proceeding very nicely with concrete. We've had some very good weather today notwithstanding. And we've been able to get a great jump on foundations and frost walls as we speak. That work will progress towards the middle of October, and we anticipate an increase in waterproofing, backfill, and underground utilities within the foundation system in the coming weeks. And that is pretty much the limit of my report. I'll certainly take any questions.
Excellent. Anything? No? No, just keep forging ahead.
Thank
It's
you.
starting to look like a building, which is nice. Donna?
I just have one question. With the rain, how have you noticed the water collection? I know you're going to have all the appropriate things in place, but going along, how has that been?
Yeah, I think it's been draining, it's been handling the water quite well. Ryan, anything?
Yeah, so just in a general sense, how that is taken into account, obviously, if for any of the holes that are dug for foundations, that they won't pour concrete if there's standing water in those holes, those will be dewatered. And in addition to that, density tests are taken by Allied Testing to ensure that there's proper compaction in the subgrade so that there won't be any settling. So that's something that Scott and Roger have been working alongside with Allied, Steve, and Marguerite Concrete's foreman to make sure that they have the proper subbase in place and that that water isn't affecting the compaction of the building. So that's what we're taking those steps and making sure that Allied, as the third-party testing agent, is the one who is saying yay or nay on the subgrade before we proceed with
The
any.
reason I ask is because I keep worrying about how it's going to be in the end.
Mhm.
You know, clearly architects know what they need to do, but
Mhm.
it's just such a concern when you see and you know what was there before, so.
Yeah, I would just add that, like, right now, if you drive by the site, you're gonna notice pooling and puddling
Right.
throughout the site, right? And that's just because the site is rough graded and it's dirt's getting moved around and it's not in a state that's designed to handle any stormwater. So a lot of that puddling and pooling that you're seeing will be mitigated and directed towards the biobasins once everything's complete. So, we think that right now that the drainage and everything like that is adequate for what it needs to be and will continue to improve as the site is brought up to where it needs to be and the topography is set in the way it needs to be and storm structures and things like that are placed, so.
Good.
we
I
don't have
just
any-
worry about it.
We don't
that's
have any
all.
concerns at this moment.
Good.
Anything else for Neil?
Just a quick,
Joe?
Neil, so the schedule, you guys look like you're pretty much on target with everything, maybe a little bit behind. Any foreseen issues with the steel or masonry right now? Okay.
Nothing that's been brought to our attention.
Okay.
So we're expecting to hold schedule through the fall.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thanks, Neil. Next up, we have Tecton and Matt. How are you, Matt?
Good, very good. I'm 12 hours out of vacation, so I'm catching up myself.
Welcome back.
So I've got a few slides. Some of them are relative to agenda item number 7, so I can just pause and we can circle back to those when we get to those slides, which has to do with the landscaping around the Sacred Acre. So just have a couple of quick photos of some of the construction progress to date. You guys have seen them as we've sent out the committee updates each week. So this will just sort of be a reiteration of that. We had the town did fly a drone over the site yesterday.
Sunday, I think?
Sunday.
Mark
Yeah. So we will share that. And then, as I mentioned, we have some images on the Sacred Acre that I spelled wrong on here. And it's landscaping, and then we have a couple of images to discuss for the change in the fencing material along the ball fields, so we can look at some images of that as well. So this is just from a couple of weeks ago, just as if you drove by the site today and took a peek in, it's progressed quite substantially from here. This is where they were digging out for the footings and foundations, and you can see the image on the right where they're forming up some of the footings. I believe this is near the training room where the footings sort of step down into that lower grade where the plaza is going to be at the end of this. This is towards the rear of the site, near where the garages are. This is where you can see that the image on the right where some of the footings have been completed and some of the rebar is sticking up, and that's where the foundation wall is going to be installed. There's a little And then the image on the left is where they're forming up some of the foundation walls around the building, so. And then you can see in the background, there's the concrete truck there. They're pouring the concrete for some of the footings, or some of the foundations, and they're making their way back to where the photograph was taken, which is, I believe, the fitness room, if I'm not mistaken. These were from last week. Again, good progress over the week. You do see some water, and this was because of some rain that had fallen, so that's not groundwater or anything like that, so nothing to be concerned about there. You can see on the left where they're forming up some other footings. This is more towards Maple Ave, towards the front of the building. The image in the middle, again, forming up some of the foundation walls, and then the image on the right, again, this is out towards the garage, I believe, where the foundation walls are being formed. Just some of the site materials to the left, this is some of the storm drainage materials that we were talking about earlier, just being stockpiled. A lot of that stuff is being brought in earlier than it typically would, just because of windows of when material is available. We're grabbing it because material shortages it's not just steel like we had talked about 6-7 months ago. It's a lot of different materials. So Fontaine's been great about making sure they're on top of all this stuff and getting it to the site as soon as it's available to make sure that we have it when we need it. Image in the middle, that's some of the waterproofing that goes down. So there's certain parts of the building that are lower than others, like the elevator pit and things like that. So that gets a little closer to the water table. So we do waterproof that like a bathtub around the entire thing. And to do that, you need to waterproof before you put down the foundation. So this is what's called blindside waterproofing. That's being installed into the formwork, and then the concrete gets poured into the waterproofing. So it creates a nice bathtub type system and keeps the water out, keeps it dry. And then the image to the right, again, a lot of those foundation walls being installed. So then we have the drone flyover. So I'll bring that up here. Just a quick video. And again, this was taken yesterday. You can see the shape of the building as it's coming out. So right in the middle there, that's the lobby, and as we come to the back and to the right, that's the cells and sally port to the right. Flying over the fitness and locker rooms, and then this is the garage taking shape. So most of that to the left, that's the rear of the building, and then the public entry is at the top of your screen, clerk's office all the way to the right. And then coming back. There you have it. So I think we'll, the town is gonna be putting those together, I think, monthly or so.
Yeah, or
Take-
as whenever we think.
This is new for me too.
Yes, monthly or every 6 weeks, whatever seems to be best for the project.
Okay, great. The next slides are on the Sacred Acre trees and then the fence, so we can return back to those after we go over the GMP. So we don't take these items out of order. Any questions on the construction progress?
No, looks great.
All right. Submittals and RFIs have been flowing in and out. There's been no issues yet to date that have come up. Just in case anybody was curious, so we have been doing a pretty heavy coordination effort between ourselves and with Fontaine. So we developed the contract documents in a digital 3D model. That's how everything kind of comes together. Fontaine subs are also doing the same thing, so they're taking our drawings and they're recreating those into a model to make sure that everything, when it goes into the building and gets physically built, doesn't have any issues or anything like that, or any conflicts. So we all get together Monday and Wednesday, twice a week, and meet to go through that model, to go through any issues or any conflicts that come up, to make sure they're being addressed ahead of time. So right now, they're putting footings and foundations in, and right now, we're going through like ductwork and overhead ceiling spaces and things like that to make sure that everything's gonna go in and get installed smoothly. So really heavy coordination effort on the entire team. So hopefully that's gonna lead to a really, really smooth process going forward. So it's been a great experience so far. That's it for the architect's update.
Anything from Matt? Pretty thorough, thanks, Matt. All right, if nothing else, that brings us to Ryan from Fontaine Brothers. Hi, Ryan.
All right, so we'll start with this committee update single sheet, that I printed out for everyone. Just filling in some of the gaps that, Neil and Matt haven't mentioned yet. Obviously, we're gonna get underground plumbing and electrical going shortly. Obviously, part of that BIM coordination was making sure that any penetrations through foundations were in the right location, elevation, to make sure that we had water, sewer drains, everything going in the right direction, so we weren't fighting gravity. So that's all going well. In assistance to the structural steel, which we hope to see the beginning of December, or expect to see the beginning of December, we're gonna have the structural masonry walls, which are in the Sallyport prisoner area, training room, locker room, and garage. You'll start to see those in the next couple of weeks. So that's another place of heavy coordination that we are working on right now, with ducts and piping coming through those walls, making sure we're not hitting things such as the garage doors, anything, the structural steel, each other. So that's a heavy push that we're putting on the project right now. And then the third item, just in a bigger picture, is that we're looking to get some of the slab-on-grade concrete floors poured before the steel starts. It's just easier. It's easier for Marguerite to get that work done before they have the steel structure in the way. It's not impossible. We did all of the slab-on-grades at the Beal project once the steel was up, but it's always a good milestone to hit, if possible, to do the slab-on-grades before steel. So that's something that we're pushing for right now, and a goal to hopefully have an update for you on in the November meeting. Going towards the sequence of the GMP development section, this whole section should look similar to the update that I had for everyone last month. Going through, obviously, we had the 726 building committee meeting where it was approved for the early site steel and concrete packages, which all of those have been going in sequence. We obviously see site and concrete on site right now doing work, and steel is in the coordination process. Last month on the 8th, we got approval for the filed sub-bid subcontractors to join the project, which are all your MEPs, your flooring, your roofing, all of those subcontractors, and that's been very helpful to the project to get all of that coordination going, getting submittals with long lead items such as your roofing, getting those through the process to make sure that we don't have any hiccups down the road. And now, this evening, we'd like to present the GMP amendment number 3. Within this amendment, we are requesting the release of another $9,149,464. That is inclusive of all of the remaining general trade packages. So these are packages that Fontaine solicits from subcontractors outside of the early bid packages and the filed sub-bid packages. So your big packages within this are going to be your drywall, your exterior spray foam for the cavity insulation, metal panels, the limited scope there, the rest of your floorings that weren't filed trade subbidders, and all your building specialties, doors, frames, and hardware, those sort of packages. All of those packages are broken down in the summary of cost pages, which I printed on 11 by 17 for everybody for this meeting to hopefully be a little bit more legible. With that additional $9 million release, that gets us to a guaranteed maximum price of $28,947,015. As you can see below, we are just under $3,000 below the construction budget for the project. And that was an effort, on Fontaine's side, not only myself, but our pre-construction staff, Dave Jr., my senior project manager, Frank Pear, to solicit bids and start the de-scope process internally. with these subcontractors to make sure that they had a inclusive scope of everything that we're gonna need to have for this project to get it the rest of the way built. And then just going down to the 90% CD VE status in the GMP. So these were the VE items that we discussed when we had the reconciliation for the 90% contract documents. That approval gave us the release to solicit the filed trade subbidders. In that document, which I believe I've provided to you several times, was 11 by 17 sheet. We had noted changing the site fencing from a 6 foot tall ornamental fence the whole way around the site to right now, as it currently sits, we have the ornamental fence shown on the front elevation of the west parking entrance, which is the back parking entrance, and the exit to the Sally Port with a 6 foot vinyl coated chain link fence around the rest of the parking area. And the planter walls, there was some discussion about changing planter walls in the front entrance to like a Versalock modular block. We kept the cast-in-place planters as shown previously, so that is included within the GMP and was part of the cast-in-place concrete early release package, so that has remained within the GMP scope. The sealed concrete at the garages, that was carried, they were originally shown as epoxy concrete floors. We noted a potential savings by going to a sealed concrete that was carried in the painter's scope for the filed sub-bid. And that's an item where down the road, if the town and the police department so chooses to, they would have the ability to add sealed or to add epoxy flooring to that floor if they so wanted. And the last item is the 50-year warranty shingles. The file sub-bid base bid for the roofer included the asphalt shingles with the alternate of the metal shingles. In this GMP currently, we have not included the metal shingles. Obviously, with how tight we are on the GMP, we did not have the room in the budget to do so. So if going through the amendment package itself, it is very similar, or it is the same layout to all of the amendments that we have provided previously. Just noting probably to the 11 by 17 sheets and the summary of cost. You can see the packages and the values that make up the, on the Amendment 3 column. Those are the remaining packages with related spec sections that make up that remaining $9 million. So as I noted, you have your drywall, your millwork, spray insulation, along with a variety of other scopes that weren't included in any of the prior packages. So that, along with our remaining general conditions and general requirements, is what got us to the $29 million, or the $28,947. So that's all I have at this point. If there's any questions about the sequence, the layout, what's included, I'd be happy to field those.
Questions, comments? No? All very thorough, Ryan. So this 9 million then, that's set in stone right now. That's money that we have spent. But there's still potential for savings down the road on the rest of the guaranteed maximum. I mean, we're at a guaranteed maximum price of $28,950, correct?
Yes, the cost of construction work will not exceed the.
Right, it will not exceed, but it could come in lower than that. There may be potential
Correct.
to
Yeah,
realize
so
savings down the
inclusive in
road.
that, we have a just under 2% CM contingency. We
Okay.
have other holds and allowances.
Okay, so as we go along then, just so I understand the whole process, as we release more money, there'll be an Amendment 4 and Amendment 5?
So
Everything.
typically the way that I've seen other CM projects go is
Yep.
that we'll provide a letter of recommendation, say, for the drywall package. And right
Yep.
now, if you look at the drywall scope item on the second page under Division 9, we have $2,139,000 budgeted for
Yep.
that package. say we go back and forth with multiple drywall subcontractors, and we were able to negotiate a contract for that bid package at $2.1 million.
Yep.
That remaining $39,000, well, it depends how CMS wants to do that, but I've seen it stay in that drywall hold, or we could move it into a CM contingency in case we have unforeseen conditions, change orders, anything along or additional monies that you want to spend with adding more trees to a sacred acre.
Okay.
Anything along those lines, that can be funded through the contingency. And at the end of the project, we'll have hopefully over 2% contingency savings, and we'll give the town a deduct change order for the remaining money that won't be spent through any of the subcontracts that we have.
Okay. Donna?
So I know we agreed to this fencing piece. That now, by process, waits till contingency time? How does that work?
So that would be something that we could see. We have a order of magnitude for the upcharge of that additional ornamental fencing along that elevation. Fontaine hasn't gone out to solicit quotes for that, but based on the unit prices that we have for what's included in the base bid with those fences, we assume the quantity or value for that additional work. We will do our best to buy out the fencing package within the scope of work, or within the hold value that we currently have, but we could look at other avenues such as savings in other packages or use of our contingency to fund that additional cost.
So it doesn't necessarily have to go to the contingency, it could still be part of the package.
Yes. Yeah.
And you also believe have owner's contingency above and beyond their line.
You do. You do. So outside of the GMP, if you will, when you take our fee, Matt's fee, everybody else's fee, deduct it all out, there's still just under $1.75 million in funds available to the committee within the project that is not yet earmarked for any particular expense. So if we don't make any changes, both within the GMP, outside the GMP, everything finishes flush, then we would return $1.75 million in unspent funds at the conclusion of the project. There may be things that come up that are outside of the scope of the project that we may want to address, whether it's more furniture, more technology, different kinds of fence. Those funds are available to the committee for vote and authorized to spend.
Okay. Now, you said that you'd be using sealed concrete in place of the epoxy, but the epoxy could be done later.
Yeah, that was just a discussion that we had previously had.
So all I want to know is, sealed concrete, epoxy, I'm just trying to comprehend if, say, we decided at some point to put the epoxy back in, the sealed concrete doesn't affect the cost, I mean, does that raise the cost of the epoxy process?
You would do epoxy flooring.
We could make that
in lieu-
decision before?
In lieu of, yes. So
Okay.
you could make it before.
So we could make that decision before, because when you said that, I thought, okay, so why
So
is epoxy so much better that we're gonna regret not doing it and then spend more money later to do it?
So those are both items, whether it's sealed concrete or epoxy concrete in that example, has reoccurring maintenance over time. You have to reseal the
Right.
concrete or reapply the epoxy. And our thought was with these VE items that we didn't want to propose any items that would have a negative impact to Chief Anderson's ability to use the building. So, finishes along those lines were items that we saw as an opportunity to not hurt the end user of the building.
So you would cue us well before the epoxy or not epoxy was an issue?
Correct. Yep. And that's something that obviously Neil said there's owner contingencies, and we'll work with the whole team to identify lead times and when decisions need to be made to make sure that we have time to make those decisions and that everybody's.
And I realize that when you're building, you make these adjustments along the way. But because it's such a massive project, I just want to be sure that we're reviewing it in the right time frame.
Yep,
Yeah.
and that's something that we're doing regularly, is asking subcontractors for lead times and materials, and we obviously have a schedule that's included in the GMP, so we expect when we need stuff on site, make sure that we work backwards from there, that we have those decisions in place when we need them.
And you have the advantage with the, like, as the epoxy, for an example, we didn't eliminate it from the entire project, just areas. So it's not like we have to onboard a different subcontractor. You already have him. So it wouldn't be as drastic if it was like something completely different that wasn't part of the project.
And based on some of what we're living through in town now, from building in the 80s, which seems so long ago, but it's really not, when we compromised back then, we're paying for it over and over and over again now because they didn't do it right then. So I don't want us to be short-sighted on that as we build this. Like, I don't want to build another building because they didn't do it right the first time.
Agree with you on that fully.
Done that.
So in other words, don't mess it up.
And I don't
No
want
pressure.
I don't want them coming, 5 or 10 years from now and asking for something that we should have put in, and now it costs a ridiculous amount of money to fix it.
Definitely.
Right, but just so, again, so I understand, sealed concrete right now, that needs maintenance though down the road, right? So there could be an option, say, I don't know what this maintenance schedule is, let's say it's 5 years. 5 years, you decided at that point, you could change from sealed concrete to, you could lay epoxy down at that point as well.
Right, for
Yeah.
probably 4 times the money, 5 years.
That could
That's
be,
what I'm
right.
trying to think of.
No, I know, I
I'm
just
thinking of
wanna,
the finance committee in 5 years.
right, no, I understand,
It's, and doing epoxy down the road it's not like the guy comes in and just throws it down.
Right.
It takes about a week with them doing the different
Yeah.
layers and allowing them to cure. You have to
Sure.
move everything out of there, so the space isn't usable while
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
being done, so it's evasive.
But there is capital expenses with that.
Right. So these are all considerations as
Right.
we move forward.
Right, I just want to make sure we're very thoughtful before we
Absolutely,
compromise.
yeah. Good. Anything else? No, thanks, Ryan. Okay, that brings us to item number 5. Review and act to authorize for the guaranteed maximum price from the construction manager Fontaine Brothers. I think we're pretty thorough in that discussion. Do we have anything else around that?
I think we covered it.
No? Are we ready for a motion?
What is,
Item 5.
no, what exactly is the motion? Just authorize, Kristen, what are we doing?
Yep, to authorize the guaranteed maximum price for
To the
Um,
manager or to the CM?
town manager.
Town manager.
Authorize the town manager to sign.
Okay, so, I move that we, we ask the town manager?
Authorize the town.
Authorize the town manager, to, agree to the guaranteed maximum price for the construction manager? All right,
Authorize the town manager to sign the
to
guarantee.
sign the,
Second,
Guaranteed
guarantee,
maximum
Guaranteed
price
maximum price, right.
documents.
Yep.
Totaling $28,947,015.
Yes.
Got that, Alex? Okay, we have a motion, it sounds like,
in a second.
and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Thank you. Item number 6, review and act to authorize the town manager to execute letters of recommendation within the scope of the guaranteed maximum price.
So what's that?
So I guess I can explain that is, if everybody remembers the early early release packages, we had letters of recommendation for the steel, concrete, and site work. This is a similar approach to what we took at the Beal School, where now that we have a GMP approved, and we have scope holds for the remaining packages that have yet to been bought out. We asked that the town manager would be able to authorize those letters of recommendation as long as they're within the holds, as long as they're within the scope of the general trade packages in the GMP. And then on a monthly basis, when we meet, we will review the buyout of those packages and show where we ended up on the budget, overruns, underruns, and just to give the group a general review. Like I said, this is the approach we took at the Beal School, and this helped us expedite the process of onboarding some contractors, getting them contracts, and getting their process going.
Got it?
Mhm.
Any other questions? No? Go ahead, Mo.
I move we authorize the town manager to execute letters of recommendations within the scope of the guaranteed maximum price.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize the town manager to execute letters of recommendation within the scope of the guaranteed maximum price. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Thank you. Item number 7, review and act to approve proposed landscape design of existing driveway area within the proximity of Maple Avenue.
All right, back up.
Yep.
We fast forward through all the stuff we've already seen. All right. So, last time we met, we discussed, trying to create some sort of separation of the park and, grove aesthetic of this space, as it relates to the police station project and the Sacred Acre, and to find a way to maintain the fact of that view as you're driving down Maple Ave with that open green space framing the town hall. And so what we had discussed is essentially bordering a line of trees, which you can see as these red circles on either side of the Sacred Acre. Just for context, just to the right of the screen here, that's where the drive comes in. And then to the left here, this is where the current drive exists. So this is the existing curb line currently, and that's going to become a sidewalk within this sort of park space. So we did a couple of quick renderings to sort of show what this would look like. So this is sort of the aerial view from up above, Maple Ave down here to the left, framing Town Hall. And we'd simply just be adding a line of trees here, and again back here. This is where the existing memorial is, the memorial tree and the time capsule are all still here in this area. And then this was the sort of meandering path that we had agreed to a few months ago, as we head back towards the Grove area and the new police station. And then this is sort of what it would look like from the existing drive. This is the drive that would be, don't mind this. This is the curb line, the existing curb line of where the drive will be removed. So this is what it would look like if you were basically standing where the memorial is now, looking at Town Hall. You would see this line of trees, and then the Sacred Acre just beyond. So this would be sort of your this alley of trees would sort of be your transition space as you move towards the Grove area. I only had those two images.
Donna?
What kind of trees would you use on the two borders of the Sacred Acre?
If I could zoom.
And are they different? What made me think of it as your red and black circles? Would the red circles be a different tree than the park area?
So these, I don't recall what the species is. I don't know if you could pull it up. But these are both the same. I think they were honey locusts.
Honey who?
I think there was a honey locust, if I recall. But we were proposing that they would be the same tree along here and along here.
Mm-hmm. And what about to the right? Would that be the same?
The same tree as well, yes.
But then to the left or west of these trees, would they be different?
Yeah, so there's a little bit more variation as you move beyond. Yep, exactly.
'Cause I think it would be nice to keep those unique to the park area.
Agreed.
And I have no idea what that tree is. Where's Mrs. Whitney when you need her?
Do you have a preference, Donna?
I think it looks nice. Oh, do I? On trees?
Yeah,
No, I have no idea.
okay.
I would, obviously, this is the rendering, and it's one image, and it's, so the day after construction, these will be smaller than they show here. These are a little bit more matured in the rendering, but,
Let me ask Keith, from a maintenance standpoint, are some easier than others?
No, if it has leaves, it's a problem.
Okay.
But, no, I just,
red cedar then.
there you go. So I do like this idea. It would be nice if we definitely have variety of trees. I understand maybe the Sacred Acre has same kind on both sides, but there's always that concern that we get into an ALD situation again or something to that effect that might attack those trees. I would like to see an exercise at some point, and I know we're a ways away, on different types of options for trees. We have a lot of honey locusts in our buildings, and I'm not sure that they're the right tree for this spot. That's my opinion. I'm not an arborist, but I'd like to see that exercise at some point.
Along with that, what I was thinking, and I don't know if it's more maintenance or if it's the same maintenance, even like if there was a certain kind of flowering tree, you know?
So you get some season.
So right,
Yeah.
and you look, as it's springtime and you look and it's more of a wow factor. But I don't know expense-wise, maintenance-wise, I don't know any of that, and I'm not an arborist, so.
Neither am I. I just think that we should go through that exercise at some point and discuss the
It's
different options.
really exciting, actually, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Good work, Mo.
we will, there's a lot to discuss project-wise about the landscaping, and we do have a lot of trees, and I don't think we've ever all taken a deep dive into what everything is, so I agree, I would like to have that. It's a good component of this, and I think there's room there's some wiggle room in here where we can eliminate some components out of certain areas to add others to reduce any sort of cost increases and things like that. So I think we have a lot of site to work with, which is good. So I guess if that's the basic direction of feedback, we'll sort of keep sharpening the stone on this one, and we'll come back to you next month with a little bit more detail.
Yeah, looks good.
The other piece was the fence line. I don't think we had an independent item for this, so I'm just gonna hijack this item in the
Sure.
agenda and continue on. So the fence line along the ball fields, just to bring everybody up to speed. So this is essentially the outline of where the tree line is currently. This being the back parking lot for the police station, the police drive, and then the bioretention basin that sits back here. This is sort of the line right here of where it's currently still densely wooded and shall remain as such. This dash line here is the existing fence line that runs up. Just beyond this fence line is where you see that big mound of dirt where all the topsoil is piled. And then this is the edge of the soccer fields. So I have 4 photographs that I took from various directions just to show you how it looks. And of course, this is how they look in summertime because I took these a couple weeks ago. So in the wintertime, it'll certainly be a little bit more visible. But image 1 was taken sort of from midfield of the nearest soccer field, right along the stone wall. Image 2 was taken right at the back of the soccer field. And then 3 and 4 were taken right at the fence line, 4 taken immediately adjacent to the trees just to show the density in there of some of the undergrowth. So this is 1 and 2. Again, here's the sort of dense pack of the trees, the fence line as it comes back, and then you can see where the soil mound is back here. And then image 2, again, taken from the soccer fields. And you can see some light through the trees of where the site is, where we had talked about the secondary entrance for the police department that would sort of reside here. So you would see some of the fence line poking out here, but not much. And then again, up close, this is right in that back corner. So there is a chain link fence right here. I don't know if you can make it out.
Falling down.
I think Donna, you've got the best view on the screen, and then this is just looking to the right directly. You can sort of see some of the construction equipment through the trees here as well. And again, in the wintertime, it'll be a little bit more visible, but it is pretty dense in there with some of those smaller trees and things like that. And I would probably, not a landscape architect or an arborist or anything myself, but you will get more light into here now that it's been cut back, so you will probably get more density over the next few years as some of the undergrowth thickens up. As Ryan said, he does have sort of a unit cost on approximately what this would be if we were to change it. So let me go back to the site plan. So what we're talking about is this fence line here. Just that leg. So it's all ornamental from here out. And then it's currently all chain link from this corner on up. So we'd be talking about from this corner to this corner. And we would anticipate that somewhere in the range of $35,000 to $40,000 increase to change that fence to the ornamental, if the committee so chose.
Donna?
It'd be interesting in another month if you took another picture, because when, in the wintertime, you see straight through. Now, the other option is you might need less fence if it's that dense. You might not have to pick up the ornamental until beyond it, and then part of that is the driveway also, the alternate driveway. So if a month from now we look and it stays dense, which I doubt, you might need less of the ornamental fence. Maybe, maybe not, but I have a feeling, my recollection is you see straight through. So,
Any other thoughts?
I I will say, I don't have a preference yet, although I'm leaning one way, but we either do the whole side ornamental or not. I don't think you do it halfway.
good, that's fine with me.
I think
So-
that would look
long
worse
as
than
you
just
agree with
having
me.
a chain link all the way down.
But a month from now, look and see how it looks, because that area is pretty dreary in the wintertime because it was always flooded and all you saw was like pools of water. So, and it was pretty empty.
But that's the time of year, though, when you get to, and just playing devil's advocate a little bit, that's the time of year when those fields are not used.
You still have how many thousands of cars going up and down the street looking at it? Well, they're supposed to look
I
at the
hope not a
road.
lot looking at it.
Yeah, that'd be, because then they're gonna drive off the road. It's a tough angle.
Well, as long as
That's
they're
my
not
thought. It's
texting,
not,
they
it's
can
not on
still,
public, it's not really in public view, except for the people that are using the fields at the time.
wait and see. What, look a
No,
month
I'm-
from
I'm-
now.
No, I'm open, I'm just,
Okay.
again, just playing
Yep.
devil's
No,
advocate.
it's fair.
This is nothing we have to decide tonight.
No,
Absolutely not.
good.
So just like the trees, we'll continue to, provide more information and when a timely decision will be required, but definitely not today.
So you have a landscape architect as far as the trees go that can give you more,
Yes.
because I'm thinking size of, different trees and stuff, whatever.
Yeah, and if there's anybody that has more interest in sort of the landscape aspects and species and things like that, we can certainly arrange smaller meetings and go over some of that in more detail. But what I'll do is I will plan at some point in the future for the landscape architect to come and do a presentation of all the plantings and things like that. We did it for the planning board. We can do it for you folks as well.
Mo, not that it even has to be in this project, but once that's done, when you talked about the flagpole
Yep.
needing some kind of a boost, it'll be interesting to see all of that complete, and then you'll say, it really does need a boost, so,
Looks like a stick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, Keith.
Schedule-wise, when do you expect plantings? Will it be next fall, or would that or would that be the following spring?
So the plantings, I guess the easiest way to describe it is that the back of your existing building runs along here and then jumps down. So we'll have this bioretention basin somewhat, probably half built, and this one will not be built. So I'd expect from the drive this way, all of our plantings to be in, and then once the existing station comes down, this entrance gets filled in, the sidewalks go in, you'll see the rest of these plantings the spring of '23.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be a two-step process.
Spring of '23. You said '23, yes.
He did.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, that's all. I heard it right. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yep, Mo.
I thought I saw in, maybe it was Matt's report, that they're gonna start drainage and underground utility work on the site, or did I read that wrong?
Yep.
Next week, maybe?
Yeah, so drainage work is ongoing. Obviously, you saw the pictures of the big pipe on the site from Matt's photos earlier. We were able to get that pipe earlier than expected, about a month earlier. So Amarillo has a crew that is getting pulled off another site and would have started on that work today if it wasn't pouring out. So that work's ongoing. We also have water, sewer, eventually electrical. That'll be coming off of Maple Ave. So we're working real closely with Keith, Andy Truman, Mass DOT, Fuss and O'Neill to make sure that we have everything in place and we're doing all that properly. So that's also some of the work that's shortly upcoming. We should have mentioned that. I apologize for that.
What's happening with the driveway permit with Mass Highway?
With the driveway with Mass Highway?
The permit, it seems like it's been a couple of months. What's
We,
the big issue?
as early as, I think, this morning, we received just a couple more latent comments, of just a couple of clarifying items. So sounds like there'll be one more round of minor clarifications that they require.
But we're eliminating a driveway, or we're moving a driveway, and we're just adding one, so we're not adding two.
That's not the issue anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not an issue. The issue they have right now is they wanted a minor change to the radius of one of the drives coming out and a clarification on one of the details of how we're dealing with some of the base material. So it's really minor cleanup stuff.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but the third drive issue is, that's gone away.
Good.
And none of those clarifications are all clerical. It's just calling one type of subgrade a mass dot soil, and the subgrade that was previously specified is the same thing. It just goes by a different name, so nothing major of adjustments are expected.
One more?
If you get a decent amount of the drainage work in, you gonna try to put base coat down before winter, on some of it at least?
We're gonna,
I'm just curious, you don't,
once we get the utilities off the road,
yeah.
let's put the ones that go underneath that western driveway, we're gonna have base coat run past where the fences are, and that'll just help us with keeping the road clean. We can back out the drive off 3-inch stone back more. That'll just be an effort to keep the road clean, because that way, once it's in binder, we can sweep that more effectively. So that's something that we're looking at, is just getting the services out of the road and getting those cut in nice.
I was just wondering, because that Market Basket project, they've had their base coat down for a while. It seems to keep a lot of dust down.
Yeah, it does definitely help. It's just getting the sequencing to all work out, so,
I know it might not be possible, I was just curious.
yeah. Luckily, it's been raining so much, there hasn't been.
Yeah, I know. There's your dust control.
Anything else? Okay, so back to item 7. It looks like we have to approve the landscape design of the existing driveway area with proximity to Maple Ave. So this has nothing to do with the fences. This just has to do with the
That's good.
tree line where the sacred acre is.
Both sides.
Both sides,
Both
yes.
Mm.
Right, so just so we're clear, so we know what we're voting on.
Mhm.
Are we ready for a motion, or do we
So
have questions or comments?
I move we approve the plan, barring the tree selection.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a
Just
second.
One discussion item.
Yep.
So I think we might be going back to the planning board for site plan modification for the rear driveway, perhaps. If we move in that route, I would just suggest that you reach out to Bernie Cahill and tell him that we're adding additional trees. He might just say it's a field change, go right ahead. I don't think he's gonna say that it needs to go back to planning board, but, so I just suggest we run this sketch, not run the sketch by Bernie, provide him with a sketch so he understands and the field inspectors understand that.
Yeah,
It's
once we,
reasonably
once we go through, we'll make them aware that we're doing this, and
Yeah.
then as we get a little bit more detail in there, some species and things like that, we'll definitely keep them up to date with
Perfect.
everything.
Krista, do you think we should table this item till the
No,
next
not
meeting?
at all. No, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Just wanna make sure that planning's up to speed, cause they'll look at the plans and say, we approved this many trees,
Right.
not down to the little, but this is a little bit bigger change than just a
Sure.
normal,
No, I understand.
add one tree.
Right, right.
So.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to act to approve the proposed landscape design of existing driveway area with proximity to Maple Ave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Thank you. Which brings us to item number 8. Review and discuss proposals for site progress photograph contract.
So
Neil.
last month when we met, we talked about proposals for photographers to come in on a monthly basis throughout construction and document the conditions inside the buildings. We spoke with Multivista, who is the same firm that did a similar scope of work at the Beal project, and asked them to duplicate that scope of work for the police station project. Their proposal in terms was provided, your hard copies in front of you, and that ask is roughly $21,995. And that's for a 12-month service, meaning progress photographs every month for 12 months, which will get us roughly through the station's completion next fall. And then you have unlimited access to all of the platform indefinitely, which will give you the record of construction, the record of utility locations within the walls. The platform itself is set up so that photographs are keyed off of the site plans and the building plans. I think we went over most of this last month. So this was the final proposal.
So I do have one question. So it's monthly invoice for 12 months. What if we hit any delays or we need 14, 15, 16 months?
So
Would they be willing to extend the contract on a per monthly basis?
it does give you a monthly invoice cost thereafter of $14.75
Okay.
per month.
So we can extend it then? Okay. That would be my question. Because if we're going to do it, I just want to make sure it's done to completion.
For sure.
Keith?
Neil,
Yes.
and another issue, I think, to hit to Pat's point, so if there is a delay, a significant delay, we can tell them not to come
Yes,
also. So like,
that's true.
may not actually have to pay for 14
Okay.
months, but you might say, hey,
Right.
there's no work ongoing, which I hope we don't get there, but,
Okay.
they skip a month.
That's good to know that's an option too. Yes, Donna?
Mr. Chairman, I think this is something that's appropriate and good, but I think we need to be sure the record shows that this will be very helpful for the buildings department to use for future potential issues that could come up. So I move we approve it.
I agree.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the photograph contract with Multivista Construction Documentation. Would that be correct in terms of a motion? For the amount of $21,995. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So voted unanimously. Neil, do you think they'd be willing to take pictures along the back of the soccer fields just to see on a monthly basis? what the progress looks like?
I'll bring it up.
All right, that'd be great.
I'll take some if you'd like.
Okay. Oh, I might as well get the professional ones. though.
Right.
Not that you can't take a nice picture.
Exactly.
Um,
Because I could doctor my pictures.
There you go, that's right. Any other business? Anybody have anything? Okay, meetings? Matt, Ryan, Neil, what do you think?
For scheduling regular.
Next meeting, yep.
Yeah, so this is a, item, once we got to the point of GMP at the Deal project, we set like the third Monday of every month as, or I believe there it was the third Thursday of every month for the building committee meeting. I think my understanding is that Mondays is the preference of the committee. So I'd like to propose the third Monday of the month, moving forward on a general basis. Obviously, if there's a holiday or something odd that comes up, we can set a schedule up, once that general date's approved, and if we have to shift the date on a month, that would be fine. But that'll just help not only Fontaine, but CMS and Tecton in doing monthly pay applications, the review of those applications, and any required revisions, just on a monthly basis.
Okay,
So, I have a question now.
sure. Oh,
So it's the first Monday, we're already in the first Monday of the month.
So it wouldn't start
We going,
the third until November. We don't need one for this month.
okay, because that's like 5 to 6 weeks, not an issue.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, so the subcontractors will submit their bills for October, the third Monday of this month. I'll submit those for Tecton and CMS's review through the end of the month, and then any revisions that need to be made will be subsequently made, so that they feel comfortable approving it, and then we'll bring it to the committee and provide an update on construction.
The third Monday of November is early too. It's only the 15th.
it's
Yep.
what?
It's only the 15th of November. It's an early
Oh, okay.
third Monday.
That work for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay, I think that's everything. Thank you, everybody.
Wait, one sec.
What do you got, Don?
I'm trying to look. Just so you know, if it matters to anybody, the third Monday of December is December 20th.
Yeah.
So it's okay with everybody? Okay. Fine with me.
Okay, all right.
We'll probably have to change the third Monday in January, because I think that's MLK. So we'll have to change that to
Yeah.
another date in January.
Okay. We can attack that over the winter months.
Okay. So we might have to go to the second or the fourth, whatever works best.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
Do it Tuesday, that's nice.
All right, anybody hang around, or you wanna hang around, or you wanna adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Good work.